quite interesting. And as we promised you, our reporters are on the ground and ready to give us updates on the developing arrangements for his final bow. Timothy Otieno is right outside Lee Funeral Home, where one of the areas that will be the epicenter of the arrangements today, as the body will be moved from there to Nyayo National Stadium. So let's link up with Timothy Otieno. Timothy, what's happening where you are right now?
Well, good morning, Trix. As it is here at the Lee Funeral Home, not much activity going on at the moment. Remember that interdenominational funeral service is scheduled to begin anytime from 8:30 in the morning. So as at now, not much activity going on here at the Lee Funeral Home. We've been able to see a few government vehicles moving into and out of this particular area. We've been informed that a majority of the vehicles and the people who will be involved in today's interdenominational service, at least on the part of ferrying the body, went to the Nyayo National Stadium early in the morning, as early as 4:30, to begin the final rehearsals, the last-minute rehearsals ahead of the activities set to begin in the next 2 hours or so. So right now we can see, even from my side, I can see a lot of vehicles still going down this road that leads to the Lee Funeral Home, trying to make those last-minute preparations, the last-minute dashes before the military guard can be able to pick Mzee Moi's body from the Lee Funeral Home to begin that final journey to his resting place in Kabarak, I beg your pardon, in Nakuru County. So the next 48 hours will be interesting. The next 48 hours will be monumental in the history of this nation as the country mourns and prepares to give that final send-off to the second president of this republic and the longest serving at the moment. Now, today's activities come in the wake of a three-day national viewing of the body that began on Saturday, I beg your pardon, and ended yesterday. The body of the former president had lied in state at Parliament buildings for the last 3 days, where the Kenyan public was allowed to view the body, issue their last respects before today's interdenominational service that will be led and spearheaded by the African Inland Church, a church where the former president was a long-time member, going back in the day when he was still a teacher at his village in Baringo up to now, and it's the same church that will now oversee the last rites of passage to the afterlife ahead of that service that is expected to take place at the Kabarak University tomorrow. At the moment, the roads remain relatively clear on this side of town, except this stretch of road that leads down to the Lee Funeral Home. The other roads, Valley Road, remains open, as you can see from my right side, and the road leading to the Kenyatta National Hospital down to Mbagathi, the traffic is clear at the moment. Now, not a huge presence of security personnel here compared to on Saturday morning when the first day of public viewing of the body was, but also it's expected that the convoy might pass through State House as it goes to Parliament buildings and then from Parliament to the Nyayo National Stadium. Now, that route is yet to be clearly defined. As you can imagine, this is a funeral and an event that is being taken over by the military, and the military I beg your pardon, at this particular moment, choosing to keep their cards close to their chest. So we wait to see exactly which route this particular convoy carrying the casket of the former president will be passing through. But it is expected that from around 8:30 thereabouts, then the former head of state's body will or should be making its way to the Nyayo National Stadium for that interdenominational prayer service. Now, the Lee Funeral Home has been home to the body of the late since Tuesday last week, when he passed away in the morning at the Nairobi hospital. His body was ferried here, and this has been his resting place for the time being. And it is expected that tomorrow his body will be flown from Nairobi to his Kabarak home in Nakuru County. So at the moment, that's the situation here, Trix. Even as we wait for the official program to begin, it is expected that nearly 10 heads of state will be attending either the interdenominational prayer service today or the burial tomorrow. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs yet to give details as to exactly who these individuals will be, which presidents will be coming to console and mourn with Kenyans during this two-day event. But the ministry did say at least 10 heads of state expected. This could be probably sitting heads of state or former heads of state or both. We wait to see whether the ministry will release that information in due time. But even as we wait for that information to be released, the program has already commenced. And at the Nyayo National Stadium, we are told that rehearsals have been ongoing, the last-minute touches to make sure everything goes to plan. Now, this particular funeral has been taken so seriously. The committee that was in charge of spearheading the coordination of the activities was led by the head of public service, Joseph Kinyua, and we are made aware that once the president landed into the country 2 days ago, he took over the preparations of this particular event, and as recent as on Sunday, the head of state made an impromptu visit at the Nyayo National Stadium that was supposed to host today's interdenominational service, checking personally on the last-minute preparations and the preparedness of the stadia, of the activities of that particular venue to ensure everything goes on smoothly. And it's an impromptu check that he made at around 12:30 p.m. on Sunday. So that alone tells you the seriousness in which the head of state takes this particular event, and each and every person and government agency and organ involved in the preparation of this particular last 2 days, taking it very seriously, ensuring everything goes by the book and goes according to plan to give Mzee Moi a befitting send-off at the moment. So, Tricks.
Timothy, just before I let you go, perhaps I know you've said that they have been keeping their cards too close to their chests, just not to reveal some details. But with 10 heads of states coming in, have you visually just seen any peculiarities in terms of security operations, perhaps the blocking of certain routes? I understand you might not have been all over the city, but what can you see on the ground in terms of some of the measures that they are taking to secure, of course, the routes that they will be using, particularly the heads of state and other dignitaries? I understand that the Nairobi Eldoret route highway has been closed down, or rather has been closed down to heavy vehicles, just to make sure that this is a smooth traveling for dignitaries. So have you seen anything just on a visual level that could indicate some peculiarity or that seriousness that you're speaking of in terms of security?
Well, a lot of security personnel and a lot of security detail, first and foremost at the Nyayo National Stadium. Now, this will be the ground zero of today's events, so you do expect a lot of security within that stadium, outside and inside, not only for the safety of the Kenyans, but remember, today's interdenominational prayer service will be open to the public. And as we've seen in Parliament over the last 3 days, there'll be a lot of screening by security officials for the Kenyans who will choose to attend this particular service. Indeed, they're expected to have been seated by latest 7:30. All members of the public who are willing or who have offered themselves to come to this particular service are expected to be seated by 7:30. So there'll be a lot of screening, and hence the reason why there's a lot of security around and within the Nyayo National Stadium. We've also been informed that there's a lot of heavy presence of security details at State House. Now, State House is the place where many of these foreign dignitaries, if they have already arrived into the country, the number of those who are in the country at the moment, not known, not sure how many will have arrived by today evening, but State House will be the welcoming venue for many of these heads of state, and for that reason, you expect that there'll be a lot of security within that particular road, that is State House Road, the processional way that leads to State House Road from the Kenyatta Avenue. As at 6 this morning, roads were still clear. I can confirm Kenyatta Avenue was still open to the drivers and vehicles and motorists who are applying that particular route, except processional way, which we saw was not a lot of vehicle traffic within that particular route, so we cannot confirm whether at that time it had been closed, but presumably by now processional way may have been cordoned off from motorists who may want to use that particular route. Aside from that, Valley Road still remains open on my right. I can actually see off camera vehicles going down that route, the road leading to Mbagathi, because we are situated at the roundabout here at Silver Spring, the Silver Spring Hotel roundabout in Hurlingham. So on my right, down Valley Road, the road still remains open. On my left, leading to Mbagathi Way, still remains open for motorists and those who are choosing to use that particular direction, except this road that leads down to Lee. So as I've mentioned before, the military keeping the cards close to their chest, a lot of security presence at State House and a lot of security presence at the Lee Funeral Home.
Thank you very much, Timothy Otieno, giving us an update outside Lee Funeral Home, one of the areas that